We have with us entrepreneur Gian Franco out of Trinidad and Tobago. Gian is the visionary and founder of Pavillion Plus, an online streaming platform made for us by us, where one can get loads of varieties of Caribbean film and video content. He is the brain behind our own Caribbean Netflix. Good morning, Gian, and welcome to Good Morning SKN. It's truly our pleasure to have you here with us today.
Indeed.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's talk about the Pavillion Plus platform. How did it come to be, and what was the motivation and driving force behind it?
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a good couple of years since we started it, and it came to be primarily out of necessity. I think Caribbean stories are important. They deserve to be told, but there hasn't been a opportunity for those to be told in one place. And so realizing there was a gap in the market a couple of years ago, I sort of made the decision to try and fill that gap after working with a number of different partners within the region and hearing the same frustrations. And there's an analogy in the US, skate where the puck is going. It's an ice hockey analogy. Skate where the puck is going, not where it's been. And so instead of trying to figure out how to execute a project that would allow for the telling of Caribbean stories, sort of 4 years ago in traditional media, we started planning for what we anticipated would be the streaming revolution that we're experiencing today. And we started laying the groundwork for that.
We had an artist yesterday that says that we depend on the overseas for what we need here when we have the services here. Was that a driving force as well behind you creating Pavillion Plus?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a couple of years, it's more than a couple of years ago, a couple of decades ago, Trinidad and Tobago had this project called Vision 2020. And the goal was to become a developed nation by the year 2020. And it was just fascinating to me that one, we always had to get a foreign consultant to come and tell us how we should be operating locally. And then the second thing that was really eye-opening for me was the degree of brain drain that we had, where the best and brightest and the most talented people on the island would leave and they would never come back. And so it was in that moment, being a part of that project, I made the decision that, what, I want to leave. I want to go and learn as many things as I can, but I really want to come back and have a project and a solution, particularly in the media space, that could genuinely be homegrown and really reflect our culture and our nuance and the way that we do things, yes, but then bring the best technology and insights and benefits from away and bring those two things together.
All right, so in a nutshell, does that capture or encapsulate the services that Pavillion Plus provides, or are there others?
Absolutely. So Pavillion Entertainment is a full-fledged studio. We're producing, we're distributing, and what that means is that we are primarily focused on and exclusively focused right now on Caribbean entertainment from across the region. And so we hope to fill a gap where instead of local creatives, musicians, TV producers, film producers having to look abroad for opportunities, we can bridge that gap. We can provide all of the services that a major studio would provide internationally, but rather than having to go away to get those opportunities, you can stay right where you are, and we will be that connective tissue between the two worlds.
Oh, that's a great feat, and congratulations on what you would have achieved so far. Can you tell us how many Caribbean countries currently have content on Pavillion Plus?
Yes, I can give you the list. I can't give you the count off the top of my head, but there's St. Kitts and Nevis, obviously, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Guyana, Belize, Bahamas, Barbados, and obviously Jamaica as well has a huge treasure trove of content as well. So just around 10, and that's growing every day. I think one of the interesting things we found is that once people are made aware that this opportunity is available, people just start coming out of the woodwork with really incredible projects that wouldn't have seen the light of day otherwise, and they're sort of sitting down on their hard drives. And so now we're getting a really great engagement with the creative community as we present this opportunity for the world.
right, so let's talk about something that we've experienced when we say turn on to other streaming platforms. We get not available in your region. And we want to know how Pavilion Plus
Yeah.
has dealt with that concerning people who want to access Caribbean content outside of the region.
Yeah, so I have to admit, we went through that phase as well, right? And so one of our initial partners is the Roku channel, which is available in the US, UK, and Canada. And so as we were putting together this collection and promoting the availability of the collection, immediately people in the Caribbean were like, oh my goodness, I didn't know there was such an incredible library of content that I could watch, and they would start looking at it. And we unfortunately had to geo-block and say, hey, not available in your region. Because it just wasn't technologically and from a rights perspective, Roku didn't have the ability to be available in the region. And so that's actually what spurred us to launch our own proprietary platform so that people in the Caribbean absolutely could access it. And so now Pavilion Plus is available worldwide, wherever you have an internet connection on whatever device you choose. And it's not limited by any sort of geography or rights restrictions. It's absolutely available. And we did that primarily for our Caribbean audience. But if you are all of the way across the world in Asia or the Middle East or South America, you too have access to the service wherever you are. So we got rid of that. And that was definitely the motivating factor for us to get to where we are today.
Nice. Congrats again. Creative economy is the biggest economy being pushed right now in the Caribbean. How will Pavilion Plus increase the ability of Caribbean creators to earn like their international counterparts?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been the primary focus from the beginning. I'm a creative at heart, and most of my close friends are creatives. And we were sitting down one day, and I said, if one of us doesn't go and figure out this business thing, we're all going to be starving artists. And so I sort of took it upon myself to go and figure out how to drive that economic component to being a creative. And so that's at the core of everything that we do. The way we started was brokering a distribution deal with an international studio so that we knew immediately there would be revenue coming back. And then as we started to build our catalog, we had the opportunity to sort of create our own distribution platform through Pavillion Plus. And so as that revenue comes in, a lot of that revenue goes to our creatives, and it goes to them having a livelihood, but also having the ability to reinvest their talent, but also their money into creating more content. And so what we hope is that builds an incredible flywheel, right? The more content you provide, the more we can distribute it, the more revenue we can generate on your behalf, and by extension, the more we can continue to pay them. So that's absolutely at the core of what we do.
Tell us about the partnership with the Cable and Sync Kids.
Yeah, so we have an incredibly exciting partnership with the cable and their Ultra TV package. And so anybody who's signing up for Ultra TV for the first time, they will be able to access Pavilion Plus completely free for 90 days. And existing customers, we haven't left you out either. So if you're an existing customer and you contact the cable at any of their contact numbers or their email, you can have that package activated for you as well. So everybody gets a taste thanks to the cable and Ultra TV.
All right, we keep talking around the issue. Let's go back to the look at the platform again, because Gian, I was saying to you during the break that I want to know where the sitcoms are.
He wants a comedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you log into pavilionplus.co, or you download the Pavilion Plus app from any of the app stores, right on the homepage, we know that people love their comedies. So if you scroll down, I think a little bit to the middle, you'll see a row dedicated to comedy TV shows. And the row is really exciting to me. So one of the things that we haven't done is explicitly delineated the content by country. If you dig in a little bit, you can find content from different, so you can choose the different islands that you want to get the content from. But immediately we just present content to you because we believe that there's more that unites the Caribbean than divides us, even culturally. And so you can go in and you might watch, say, for example, Those People, and then you'll listen to the accents and then you'll realize, oh, this is from Guyana, or another series from Jamaica or from Trinidad. Yes. But at its forefront, it's really just about presenting entertaining content and allowing people to dive in and focus on the story.
Nice, nice.
All right, so when people think of the Caribbean, I know that they instinctively think of tourism, and I guess we're going to make you sort of an ambassador of the Caribbean, although I think you've done that already effectively on your own. How do you hope to use Pavilion Plus to broaden the view of what people think of when they think of our region?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in two ways. One, I want us to change how we perceive ourselves, right? Because I find that, the expectations of content from the region are often quite low. But as you can see from the ad and from the content you see on the
Yes.
platform, not only is it high quality, but it's plentiful as well. And so for our local community, where we don't often get a chance to visit each other's islands, I hope that the platform provides an opportunity for people to travel, even if it's just virtually from in front of their TV screens. As you see different islands depicted on camera, you get to see the different nuances of the culture, but you also get to see how similar we are as well. So that would be the first thing. And then I think just to the world, that same opportunity of learning what the cultures are locally, what the nuances are, what our culture, our food, our creativity, our expression, seeing all of what that is as an international person who may be sitting down in Pakistan and never had the opportunity to visit Trinidad. I think seeing those videos and seeing the films and understanding the culture through a creative lens is a really, really powerful tool. And then all of a sudden, they're booking their next vacation to come down
Yes.
to St. Kitts and Nevis because they saw Let's Do This.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So our Caribbean population, including South America, is about 43 million, not including those living outside the region. How will Pavilion Plus, or how what is the aim to bring the Caribbean countries, especially smaller ones, out of the fringes of the global social community?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the power of the platform, and it's one Caribbean. All of us are together, and it's not individual islands having to sort of fend for themselves to get a voice or to get the opportunities that may not be afforded to smaller islands or even bigger islands. I think, you look at Jamaica with, say, 2.3 or 2.4 million people, even by itself, with the powerhouse of creativity and culture that it is, they will be so much more empowered, working as a collective, working as a Caribbean community. And so we hope that, you take those 43 million people, you add on the diaspora as well, then we can have a seat at the table, be it through distribution, be it through creativity in itself, be it through opportunities where we have strength in numbers. And I think the platform allows us to plant those seeds. Those seeds already exist. I mean, in cricket, we are unified, right? Hopefully this is one more place that we can have a united front and a seat at the world table.
All right, so Gian, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit because I already told you what my favorite genre is. Do you have one? Do you have a favorite show on the platform, a favorite movie or anything like that?
Oh goodness. No, it's it's kind of like your children. You have to love all of them equally. But I will say, you know what, I'm very excited for Let's Do This because as you know, it's coming out week to week. And so we're on week 3 now. And so I just want to know what happens. One of the things about having the platform is that you get to watch everything, either in quality control or as a consumer. And so I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with that. And shout out to Studio 327 for the great work that they're doing there. But I think in the comedy drama, I would have to say Life on Lexo Street. It's a little bit irreverent. Don't be fooled by the puppets. But I think, just in terms of the execution, the comedy, the nuance, and telling a story that is very, very Caribbean, I think in every way, shape, or form, but doing that with puppets. There's a little bit of dissonance that takes place when you're watching it, but once you dive in, it's hilarious. It's really, really great.
I've got the first recommendation from you, so thank you for that. I know what I'm going to watch
first. Those puppets too well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are some of the exciting new shows and features we can look forward to seeing on Pavilion Plus?
Yeah, so one of the things that our first goal was to collate as much existing content that exists across the Caribbean, right? Content that's already been made. We have movies from 1973 come to mind, BIM, which is a really interesting film out of Trinidad. We're getting some really great documentaries out of Jamaica that were made in the 60s as well. But with a platform like this, one of the things that we say is that you have to keep feeding the beast. Once people have signed up and they're watching content, they're going to be like, okay, I've watched everything that is interesting to me within the catalog. What's next? So we've aggressively been putting new content into production. And there are some really interesting female-focused projects that we're working on, just about lifestyle and being young mothers and creatives and entrepreneurs and spirituality, that we think will be really appealing to the audience. And we have a really big project around Carnival that we're working on now, which we think will be really exciting. And then we have a couple of dramas and films that are in various stages of development, but we hope that by the time people have watched all of the content, the hundreds of hours of content that we already have, that by the time they turn their head and they're like, okay, what's next? We have some really exciting new titles across multiple genres.
She's begging for more time with you. I don't know how she's going to do that. I don't know if, Gian, do you have, a reality show on the platform called Living with Gian? Maybe she can watch it. I don't know.
Do you know what?
You never know.
As you say that, there's a series called Keeping Up with the Joneses out of Barbados that is literally that exact premise. And so if you want to know what it would really be like having a camera follow you around, I would check that one out as well. Great comedy.
I sure will.